Welcome back once again to SwitchStars. My name's Luke, and today on the channel we're taking a look at Only Way Up Parkour Jump Simulator on the Nintendo Switch, the latest and greatest release from Game to Top Corp. Now, if you're also a PC gamer, you'll likely have heard of the viral sensation Only Up, and I myself found out about the game watching Dr. Disrespect play it. But the original game was from a solo dev who recently removed the game from Steam, much to the gaming community's dismay. In its place, a low-effort copy has sprung up by developer MoreMoto Games, which, attempting to capitalise on the original's success, has stolen the Only Up name, and as you can see, the Steam reviews are damning, even the positive ones. But this hasn't stopped Game to Top Corp getting the filthy hands on the game and porting it to Switch. So let's take a look at just how bad of a rip-off it is, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy my content and want to see more. So right from the main menu you can see the level of effort we're looking at with this port, as even the game's title is a blurry mess and barely legible. Here though we have access to a settings menu with some sound settings and an overview of the controls, again a little blurry. And there's also a shop where we can spend golden nuts to purchase power-ups to help us on our ascent to glory. Selecting play though, we get a selection of 5 different levels, those being the city, desert, forest, factory and space. And while the PC version apparently has online co-op which nobody plays, the Switch version is a single player only experience. Getting into the game though, I decided to kick things off on the city level, and your character in the game is this Logan Paul lookalike, but taking a look around we can see the task ahead of us as a mass of random objects ascend high into the sky. Now the object to the game is simple, forget all about that bullshit eShop description about testing out your parkour skills and free running, it's a load of bollocks. The game is basically a ridiculously long jumping puzzle, and your only mission is to ascend up through the path of junk, hopping from one object to another as fast as possible, eventually reaching the end goal, which, let me tell you now, is near impossible. To start with though, I did have some degree of success. The city is undoubtedly the easiest level in the game, and I had no real issues to start with, as there were plenty of flat objects to hop between of various shapes and sizes, ranging from cargo containers and pallets to bookshelves and ammo crates, and every so often I would also encounter a helipad which not only acts as a checkpoint in the game, but also rewards you with a crate containing a few hundred bulls. As I ascended higher though, the first cracks started to appear as the object variety picked up, terrain became uneven and jumps became more distant and difficult, and you could really start to notice just how little effort has actually been put into the controls and mechanics in this one. To start with, unlike the original where your character is able to grab onto the sides of objects to pull themselves up, instead we get a glitchy climbing animation, which not only fails to get us on top of an object most of the time, it also triggers when we don't want it to, like when you're walking across the top of a helicopter or attempting to make a jump with something above you. Now the power-ups in the game include a jetpack and set of wings which can help you skip certain sections or save you from a fall, a parachute which slows your descent, and a reset ability which teleports you back to your most recent checkpoint. But the duration of these abilities is incredibly brief, and once they're gone, they're gone. And you'll then have to purchase additional charges, which at 4 to 5k a pop are incredibly expensive, considering you get about 350 bulls per crate. The climbing mechanics and power-ups though are not the biggest issue with this one, no, that comes with the jumping itself. And for a game which is almost entirely focused around this singular mechanic, you'd think that they'd actually ensure that it functioned correctly, but no. Half of the time the jump button fails to activate, especially when the terrain is uneven, and I couldn't even get past the first fucking helicopter in the forest level due to this. But this, coupled with a steadily dropping frame rate due to a large number of on-screen objects, makes what is already an intentionally frustrating game nigh on infuriating. Oh, and there's also a sprint button in the game which doesn't work at all, so good luck making those long jumps without any power-ups. So needless to say, I didn't get very far in this one. I got perhaps a couple of climbs up in most levels, only to encounter a particularly tricky jump and plummet back down to the ground, But even if there hadn't been the issues with the mechanics, the game itself is just not that interesting. Unlike the original, there's nothing unique about the levels, you'll encounter the same objects over and over, there are a few moving platforms or platforms that vanish beneath you, and these bubbles which sometimes carry you to safety or sometimes just drop you to your doom. So they're a lottery not worth risking. All in all though, there appears to have been very little effort put into anything here, and it's a blatant cash grab from both the developer and publisher. My advice, steer clear of this one and don't get suckered into thinking you're getting a Switch version of Only Up, because down is the only way you're heading in this one. If you want to know more about Game to Top Corp though and the scams or the other big players in the Switch eShop scam ring, then I recommend checking out my video on the subject linked down below. And go give my Scam Games playlist a watch to see just how deceitful these arseholes can be. But for now, drop a like if this one helped you out, subscribe to the channel for more Nintendo Switch content, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.